Hi, everybody. Welcome to the second segment, episode 247 of Sold with Updike Pugh. I'm Jeff Updike.
I'm Weston Pugh, and today we thought we'd talk about when do you need a permit? This is the question that we get asked quite often, and as homeowners, there is a couple of things to kind of point out. Is that a lot of times your vendors, handyman, will point out that they don't need to pull a sub or a permit, or that it's cheaper if they don't. But it's not always the case, because there is also a seller's disclosure that you'll be filling out when you sell. One of the questions is, have the permits been pulled for work that was required?
And you have to disclose if you know that there was work done without a permit that needed to be permitted.
That is correct.
And it's not the end of the world if you've already done that. It's not the end of the world, but we also want you to, if you haven't done that before, this is the reason not to do it in the future.
So we found a really great PDF that kind of talks about when, where, and why. And this is a quick and easy definition, so I'm just going to read it. It says, any entity must obtain a master permit when they erect, construct, enlarge, add to, repair, replace, improve, remove, install, convert, equip, or occupy, maintain a structure or building, service equipment. I feel like a lawyer wrote that.
I would bet the city attorney wrote that.
So that's kind of like in the nutshell, but then what I thought was even a better clarifier is when you don't need a permit, because that there was jargon to me.
That part does make it a little bit easier, because this talks about when you don't need a permit to stop leaks in pipes. You don't need a permit for fences that are not serving as a pool enclosure, not over 4 feet in the front yard and not over 6 feet elsewhere. You do not need a permit for storm windows. You do not need it for rain gutters. You do not need it for insulation. And if you need to rebuild retaining walls that are no higher than 4 foot, counting from the foot grade to the top.
Now, here was an interesting one that I thought. It said 1-story detached accessory structures less than 200 square feet without utilities.
Yeah.
That utility thing is the kicker.
Yeah.
But then again, they're just going to come out and check that. One of the things that people don't always realize is that when you do sprinklers do require a permit being pulled. And that is because there are certain sidewalks that will separate a grassy area that needs to be maintained and watered. And they also require that all foundations are also watered here in Texas or in Dallas. So it changes from municipality to municipality.
Yeah, absolutely. The city of Dallas has been struggling since the pandemic. They were struggling before the pandemic because there were so many people moving here and there was so much activity that was ramping up, and then you throw the pandemic on top of it, and it really caused chaos at City Hall, to the point that many builders said, we're not going to build in Dallas any longer because it would take them 9 months to get a building permit issued.
You can't. Time is money.
Yeah, time is money to builders, and they pass that on to the ultimate buyer of the home when they can. But if at some point it's too much, and buyers are not going to buy that house. So we did want to. They have gotten better. They've gotten better control over it, and they put out this infographic that we're going to show. That they do this monthly, and it shows like the progress that they're making. So this is the 2023 highlights. New single-family dwelling permits received. There were 202 of those received in September. 180 were actually issued. Yes, that is a little bit of a lag, but it's very possible that the month before they, issued 40 more than were came in the door. Additions, if you wanted to do an addition onto your home, there were 87 of those permits issued last month. And if you're doing a full remodel, there were 77 of those permits issued.
And then what I think is interesting, they talk about number of days, and I believe they're talking about number of days for the turnaround. And their median is 4 days on some of these, which is really great, and that should not interfere with typical building a calendar.
Yeah.
So these are really great numbers. I think they're doing a good job. Let's hope that they keep this moving forward. One of the things we're going to do is actually put the original construction permit introduction on the link in the comments. That way you can actually see where you actually need to go to actually pull a permit. And they also have some tips and tricks that you should look through so that when you get there, that it's a lot smoother and your application is more likely to be approved on site.
And let's link that to the web page on the city website, so in case it changes at all, or if any of these, that'll be a dynamic link. So
Well, look at Jeff just thinking on the spot, throwing it back to Zach on.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed this.
Well, thanks for joining us. And just remember, we want to be realtors for life.
When you're ready to talk real estate, you can reach us online, by phone, or by text at 214-377-2223.
And remember, we want to be realtors for life.